There is this very specific moment in the life cycle of almost every digital agency where the dream suddenly starts to feel like a liability.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very real wall that people hit.
Right. And for you listening, I want you to picture this. You're out there hustling, you're landing more clients, which is, exactly what you set out to do in the first
You gotta
place.
get to your goals.
Exactly. You're building these beautiful, complex websites. Your portfolio is winning awards. The revenue is climbing. But then, almost without you even noticing it, the scales kind of tip.
They always do.
Yeah, like you wake up to a Slack ping at 2 a.m. because a client's e-commerce site is just throwing a critical database error.
Ugh, the dreaded 2 a.m. database error.
Right. And then by 9 a.m., you realize a routine WordPress update just completely broke the custom layout on your biggest client's landing page.
So stressful.
It really is. And suddenly, instead of focusing on growth or acquiring new business or, actually designing things, you are drowning. You're spending your entire day playing whack-a-mole with plugin conflicts and emergency security patches and server downtime.
Yeah, you're just reacting.
Exactly. You're doing maintenance instead of marketing. It is what I like to call the success trap.
A success trap. I like that. It really is the ultimate paradox of scaling a service business in the digital world.
Right.
Because the very thing that brought you that initial success, building and launching those websites, that actually becomes the heavy anchor that drags your momentum down once those sites are live.
Because it never really ends, right?
No, exactly. Because a website isn't a static brochure. I mean, it is a piece of software living on a server, and software requires relentless ongoing attention.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this dynamic as we were preparing for today's deep dive into white label WordPress maintenance services. It is so much like building custom cars.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison. How so?
Ooh. Well, think about it. Designing and building a custom sports car is the highly profitable, deeply creative part of the business.
Right, that's the fun part.
Exactly. That is where the margin is. But if you, as the master builder, are personally obligated to do the oil changes and the tire rotations and fix every tiny scratch for every single car you have ever sold for the rest of eternity,
Yeah.
you are fundamentally trapped.
You literally wouldn't have time to build anything new.
Exactly. You physically cannot build any more cars. You are just a glorified mechanic for your past successes.
Which is exactly why the strategy we were unpacking today is so critical for anyone who's looking to scale an agency.
Yeah.
Because this isn't just a discussion about, how to outsource your digital chores to save a few hours on a Friday afternoon.
Right. It's much bigger than that.
It is. When you look at the actual mechanics of premium white label maintenance, you realize this is fundamentally about operational efficiency. It's about building a scalable infrastructure that allows an agency to completely detach their time from their revenue.
Right. And that's the core mission of our deep dive today. We're going to figure out the exact mechanisms agencies use to escape this maintenance trap.
Yeah, turning that liability into an asset.
Exactly. How they flip their support wing from a massive cost center into a dedicated profit center. And we are going to look specifically at the infrastructure of one provider, Viral Chili, to understand why they are dominating this specific space for growing agencies.
That's a great roadmap.
So let's start with the bottleneck itself, because understanding the pain point kind of dictates the entire solution.
For sure.
As an agency's client list grows, from 10 to 30 to 50 websites, these tiny, seemingly insignificant tech tasks just start to aggregate.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Literally. A theme update here, a database optimization there, a forgotten password reset request. Why is this such a lethal bottleneck for an agency? Because it's not just the actual minutes spent on the task.
Right. Not at all. It is the context switching and the resulting opportunity cost.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Well, let's say an agency employs a senior developer. That developer's highest value to the company is writing custom code for new high-margin projects.
Right, that's what you pay them the big bucks for.
Exactly. But when you force that developer to stop what they are doing, to figure out why, I don't know, a 3-year-old contact form suddenly stops sending emails after a PHP update.
Ugh, the worst.
You aren't just losing the 30 minutes it takes to fix the bug, you are losing their flow state.
Oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah, you're paying a premium salary for someone to do routine janitorial work. And if the agency owner is the one doing it,
Then it's even worse.
exactly, that is an hour not spent on strategic growth, lead generation, or closing actual deals.
So enter the concept of white labeling. And for anyone unfamiliar with the logistics of how this actually works, white label basically means you're contracting a third-party company to handle all of this ongoing support.
Right.
But they deliver the service entirely under your agency's brand identity. So the client only ever sees your agency. Yeah, seamlessly. Operationally, the sources say it usually works through a dedicated email address. Like, the client emails something like support@youragency.com.
Right.
That ticket routes directly to the white label partner's help desk. Their technicians fix the issue, and when they reply to the client, the email signature just has your agency's logo on it.
It's brilliant, really.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Isn't this just a clever illusion? I mean, you are essentially putting a man in the middle between the client and the people actually doing the work.
I see where you're going with this.
Right. Like, are clients getting a degraded experience just so the agency can save a buck and pretend they're bigger than they are?
It is a totally fair skepticism.
Yeah.
But the reality of a premium white label setup is actually the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah. The client is actually getting a massive upgrade in service quality.
Okay, how so?
Well, think about the internal dynamics of an agency trying to juggle 50 live sites while building 10 new ones.
Pure chaos.
Exactly. When a maintenance ticket comes in, it is treated as a distraction. It goes straight to the bottom of the pile because the new builds are what's paying the bills today.
That's true. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, but only if it's a new wheel.
Right. But when you route that ticket to a dedicated white label partner, their entire business model, their core key performance indicator is ticket resolution time and uptime.
Ah, okay, so their priorities are completely different.
Precisely. They have a dedicated team working shifts around the clock whose sole existence is built around executing these specific tasks instantly.
So the third party is this specialized machine, whereas the agency was just treating maintenance as an annoying afterthought.
Exactly. So the client gets significantly faster, highly specialized technical support, whether it's, complex malware removal at midnight or restoring a backup in minutes.
Right.
And meanwhile, the agency drastically improves their client retention because the service is suddenly incredibly responsive.
And they don't have to hire a bunch of people.
Exactly. They scale their operations without the massive overhead of hiring, training, and managing an enormous in-house support desk. It's a symbiotic relationship.
That makes a lot of sense. But this brings up a huge distinction. If you are going to outsource this, you can't just hand over the keys to the kingdom to anyone with a Wi-Fi connection.
No, definitely not. That is a recipe for disaster.
There's got to be a massive difference between a premium white label service and just paying some random freelancer on a gig site to log in and hit the update all button once a month.
A world of difference.
So what actually separates premium maintenance from just basic outsourcing?
It really comes down to 5 specific pillars of execution.
Okay, let's go through them.
So the first one, which you just touched on, is automated WordPress updates.
Right.
But the mechanism of how this is done is what separates the amateurs from the professionals.
Because anyone can click update.
Yeah. Exactly. A cheap provider just logs into the dashboard, selects all plugins, and clicks update. If a plugin conflicts with the custom theme and the site breaks, they might not even notice until the client yells at them.
Which defeats the whole purpose.
Right. A premium service utilizes safe updates. They spin up a staging environment, which is essentially a private, cloned version of the live website.
Okay.
They run the updates there first, and then they use visual regression testing.
Okay, wait. For anyone who hasn't been deep in the development trenches lately, what does visual regression testing actually look like in practice?
It is super cool, actually. It's a specialized automated process where software takes a high-resolution screenshot of the website before the update.
Okay.
And then it takes another screenshot after the update. It then compares the 2 images, literally pixel by pixel.
Wow, pixel by pixel.
Yeah. So if a CSS layout shifted or a button disappeared because of a code conflict, the software flags it immediately.
That's amazing.
The update is stopped, a human developer investigates the bug, fixes it, and only when it is mathematically perfect is it pushed to the live client site.
So the client never experiences a moment of downtime or a broken layout.
Ever.
That is a completely different level of rigor. It is the difference between hoping for the best and mathematically verifying it.
Exactly. Now, the second pillar involves security monitoring.
Right, firewalls and stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about active firewalls, continuous malware scans, and strict login security.
I always look at a really good maintenance package as a digital immune system.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be reacting to a fever. It should be catching the virus before the infection ever takes hold.
That's a great analogy because the consequences of an infection are just catastrophic for an agency.
Yeah, what happens?
Well, if a client's site is hacked and starts redirecting to spam, Google will quickly blacklist that domain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then the client's paid ad campaigns will start sending traffic to a giant red warning screen.
That's a nightmare. The client would lose their mind.
The financial loss for the client is immediate, and the trust they have in your agency is instantly vaporized. Proactive security prevents that scenario entirely,
Makes total sense.
which naturally leads to the third pillar, daily website backups.
Right. But again, how you do it matters, right?
Exactly. Having a backup on the same server as the website is useless if the server crashes.
Right. It goes down with the ship.
Premium providers ensure automated backups are pushed to secure off-site cloud storage. And crucially, they run backup verification.
Huh.
They routinely test restoring the site to ensure the data isn't corrupted.
It's like having a life raft. You definitely want to know it actually inflates before the ship starts sinking.
Right. Now, the fourth pillar is where things transition from purely defensive to highly offensive.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
Performance optimization. We are talking about cache optimization, image compression, database cleanup, and specifically focusing on core web vitals.
Okay, let's pause and define that because Core Web Vitals is a term that gets thrown around a lot.
It does.
From the sources, Core Web Vitals is basically Google's strict grading rubric for how fast and stable a web page actually feels to a human user, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like, how long does the main image take to load? Does the text jump around while you're trying to read it? How fast does the site respond when you click a button?
Right.
But why does an agency need a white label partner obsessing over this specific thing?
Because website speed directly dictates the success of every other marketing service the agency offers.
Okay, connect those dots for me.
If you are running an SEO campaign or managing Facebook ads for a client, you're driving traffic to that site.
Right.
If the site takes 6 seconds to load, a massive percentage of those users will just bounce before seeing a single word.
They just hit the back button.
Exactly. A slow site hemorrhages money.
Yeah.
By having a white label partner constantly tuning the server cache, compressing heavy images on the fly, and cleaning out database bloat, the site acts as a highly effective, high-converting marketing tool.
So it actually proves the ROI of the agency's broader marketing efforts.
Exactly. It makes the agency look like heroes.
And to prove that ROI to the client, you need the fifth pillar, which is white label reporting.
Yes. Crucial step.
Because if a third party is doing all this incredible preventative work in the shadows, catching malware, updating plugins, optimizing images, the client never actually sees it.
Right. It's invisible labor.
Yeah. They might start wondering what they are even paying a monthly retainer for.
Exactly. Which is why a premium partner generates comprehensive, beautifully designed monthly reports detailing exactly how many updates were performed, the uptime percentage, and the security threats blocked.
And then the agency just slaps their own logo on that report, hands it to the client, and suddenly the agency's perceived value goes through the roof.
It creates tangible proof of work for that invisible labor.
Okay, so if executing these 5 pillars correctly requires sophisticated staging environments, visual regression software, off-site cloud infrastructure, and an entire team of developers, it begs the question of who is actually capable of taking this off an agency's plate without charging a total fortune.
Right, that's the big question.
If we look at the broader landscape of the market, there are a few distinct players mentioned in the deep dive sources.
Yes, there are a few main options.
You have companies like WP Buffs, which are known for 247 support and emergency troubleshooting. You have Joe WP, which leans heavily into offering dedicated developers for content edits and white label dashboards.
Wow.
And then you have platforms like FixRunner, which position themselves as a more budget-friendly option tailored toward freelancers who maybe just need basic daily backups and troubleshooting.
Yeah, they all have their specific niche.
But diving into the research, there is one standout provider that seems uniquely engineered for growth-focused agencies, and that is Viral Chili.
Yeah, Viral Chili occupies a very specific strategic position in this ecosystem. They utilize what is best described as an agency-centric approach.
Okay, let me push back on this, though.
Sure.
If I am an agency owner and I have successfully built up a roster of, say, 50 client websites on maintenance plans, I have solid cash flow. Why wouldn't I just take the leap, hire a dedicated in-house tech support specialist, and keep all the profit?
It's tempting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can control the quality, they work directly for me, and I don't have to rely on an external company. What makes an infrastructure like Viral Chili superior to just building my own team?
It really comes down to economics and risk mitigation.
Okay.
Yes, you could hire a full-time skilled WordPress developer to manage 50 sites, but you are instantly introducing massive operational rigidity.
Rigidity.
Yeah. You are now paying a fixed salary, benefits, managing HR, and buying expensive software licenses.
True.
And think about this. What happens when that single employee goes on a 2-week vacation?
Oh, right.
Or worse, what happens when a 0-day vulnerability hits the WordPress core and all 50 of your clients' sites need emergency manual patching on a Sunday afternoon?
Oh, man, one person literally cannot handle that surge.
Exactly. So you have essentially created a single point of failure within your own business.
Wow, yeah, that is terrifying.
Right. So what an agency-centric partner like Viral Chili provides is elasticity. It is a highly scalable infrastructure.
Okay, so they flex with you.
Yes. If you have 10 sites, you pay for the capacity of 10 sites. If you run a massive promotion, land a huge contract, and suddenly jump to 100 sites under management, Viral Chili absorbs that scale instantly.
You don't have to scramble to interview, hire, and onboard 3 new developers to handle the load.
Exactly. You convert a massive, risky fixed cost into a flexible, predictable operational expense that only grows when your revenue grows.
And looking at their specific offerings in the source material, they seem to go much deeper than just hitting update.
Oh, definitely.
They're offering dedicated WordPress experts who handle complex emergency fixes, meaning if a database completely corrupts, they actually have the senior engineering talent on hand to rebuild it.
Right.
And crucially, they have a deep specialized focus on that SEO performance and speed optimization we talked about earlier.
Because they understand that agencies need fast sites to rank on Google.
Exactly. And they're doing this at a price point that actually allows the agency to mark it up and make a healthy profit.
That margin is the key to the entire strategy.
Right.
Which brings us to the actual financial impact this operational shift has on an agency's business model.
Let's get into the numbers.
It fundamentally transforms the valuation of the company by transitioning away from project-based revenue into recurring revenue.
Yes. Let's talk about the math behind that, because this is where the strategy shifts from just, saving time to completely altering the financial trajectory of an agency.
It's huge.
Because website development projects are inherently a feast or famine cycle, right?
Yep. The agency roller coaster.
You hunt for a client, you land a massive $10,000 project, you get the check, you build the site, and then you are right back to zero.
Starting all over again.
Exactly. You have to go hunt for the next check just to make payroll. But premium maintenance creates MRR, monthly recurring revenue.
Holy grail.
If you have 25 clients paying you a very standard $100 a month for this premium digital immune system we've been talking about, that is $2,500 in recurring revenue every single month, arriving like clockwork on the first.
And because you are utilizing a white label partner like Viral Chili to execute the actual labor, that $2,500 isn't adding 40 hours of work to your internal team's plate.
Right. But the implications of that MRR go far beyond just covering your monthly software subscription.
Oh, absolutely. From a business valuation standpoint, recurring revenue changes everything.
How so? Like, if an agency owner eventually wants to exit and sell their business, how does the buyer look at a project-based agency versus an MRR-heavy agency?
It is a completely different multiplier.
Okay, explain that.
Buyers value predictability. If an agency relies entirely on one-off projects, the buyer doesn't know if those sales will continue once the charismatic founder leaves.
That makes sense.
So that agency might sell for, 1 or 2 times its annual profit, but an agency with a massive book of clients on sticky monthly maintenance contracts.
It's guaranteed money.
Exactly. That is guaranteed future cash flow. That business can command a vastly higher valuation multiplier.
Wow.
By white labeling the heavy lifting, the agency is quietly building an incredibly valuable, sellable asset.
Plus, it creates a beachhead, right?
What do you mean?
Well, once a client trusts you to keep their site secure and fast every single month, upselling them on premium hosting or ongoing SEO campaigns or social media management, that becomes a pretty frictionless conversation.
Totally. You already have that baseline of trust.
It sounds like the absolute holy grail of agency growth. But let's look at the dark side of this for a minute.
Fair enough.
There have to be scenarios where this blows up in an agency's face. What are the major pitfalls, the trapdoors, that an agency owner needs to avoid when selecting a partner to handle this?
The pitfalls are severe, honestly, and they usually stem from a race to the bottom.
Okay.
The first major mistake is choosing a provider based purely on the lowest price.
Cheaping out.
Exactly. In this industry, cheap means corners are being cut. Low-cost providers cannot afford those staging environments for updates, and more dangerously, they cannot afford elite security talent.
Which is terrifying.
It is. If you put your clients on a cut-rate maintenance plan, you are effectively leaving their digital front doors unlocked.
And what about the human element, like the response times?
That is the second major trapdoor. When a client's website goes down, say they are running a massive Black Friday sale and their server crashes, every minute feels like an hour.
Oh, absolutely. It's pure panic.
Fast, responsive support is absolutely essential. If your chosen white label partner has a service level agreement that allows them to take 24 or 48 hours to even acknowledge a critical downtime ticket.
The client isn't going to direct their anger at the partner.
No, because the client doesn't even know the partner exists. The client is going to fire your agency.
That is the ultimate double-edged sword of white labeling, isn't it?
It really is.
When the work is flawless, you get all the glory, but you are literally outsourcing your reputation.
Yeah.
If the partner drops the ball, or if they leave traces of their own branding on a report and shatter the illusion, or if their infrastructure just breaks under the pressure of scale and your client sites go down, your brand takes the full force of the impact.
Completely.
It can completely destroy years of client trust overnight.
Which is exactly why selecting a partner requires a real paradigm shift. You cannot view a white label provider as just a cheap vendor or a disposable gig worker.
Right.
You have to vet their security systems, their backup redundancies, and their technical expertise as rigorously as you would vet a senior technical co-founder.
Oh, that's a high bar.
It has to be. Because operationally, they are acting as an extension of your agency. They are your back-end engineering team.
That reframing makes total sense. Well,
Yeah.
we have covered a massive amount of ground today on the mechanics of scaling an agency.
We really have.
Let's synthesize the core takeaways from this deep dive.
Sounds good.
The reality is that white label WordPress maintenance, specifically utilizing highly specialized agency-centric infrastructure like Viral Chili, is not just about avoiding the annoyance of plugin updates.
Not at all.
It is a strategic mechanism that allows growing agencies to secure highly profitable recurring revenue, radically increase client retention by providing elite technical support, and most importantly, free up their internal talent to focus entirely on what actually grows the business.
Exactly. Strategy, marketing, and acquiring new clients.
Right?
And looking at the trajectory of the internet, the complexity is only increasing. The demands for impenetrable security, flawless uptime, and lightning-fast user experiences to satisfy search engine algorithms. They are only going to become more stringent.
Oh, for sure. Google is getting stricter every year.
Yeah. Agencies that attempt to manage that technical execution manually will inevitably hit a ceiling.
They'll tap out.
But agencies that seamlessly integrate premium, ongoing support services without getting bogged down in the daily execution, they will hold a massive, compounding competitive advantage.
It brings us right back to the beginning analogy. If you want to scale a business building incredible custom cars, you absolutely must find a partner you trust implicitly to handle the oil changes, or you will eventually suffocate under the weight of your own success.
Perfectly said.
But exploring this entire operational strategy leaves me with one final, slightly provocative thought, and I want to leave you, the listener, with this to mull over.
Okay, let's hear it.
If an agency can successfully automate and fully white label all of its technical maintenance, its speed optimization, its complex server security, and its back-end support,
Right.
if all the deep technical execution is flawlessly handled by specialists operating in the shadows, what actually becomes the core, irreplaceable value of a digital agency in the future?
Oh, wow. That's a deep question.
Right. Is the future of the agency business model less about technical prowess and entirely about pure strategy, brand vision, and relationship management?
It really makes you wonder.
It is certainly something to think about.